The final part of project creation is its rendering and proof viewing. For those new to video editing, rendering is the process whereby the project is converted into a delivery format. A delivery format determines how the finished video will be viewed. For instance, Blu-ray is a delivery format. In this tutorial, I'll talk about common delivery formats and codecs. I'll repeat what I've said before about this series. It's meant for the absolute beginner to Vegas Pro, so its features are covered in detail. When you render your project, it's important to know what format is acceptable for the device it will be viewed on. This device must be able to decode the encoded video and audio in the rendered project. Probably the most common format is MP4. Note though that the MP4 format is only a container. By that I mean that one MP4 file may have different properties to another. Most notably, MP formats may have different codecs, which will determine what hardware the video can be viewed on. If the video contains an audio stream, this can complicate matters further, because there are different audio codecs also. Blu-ray, as I mentioned earlier, is another delivery format, which I'll talk about in the next section. The term codec refers to a software or hardware component that's used to either decode a video file for editing or to encode a video project for delivery. The subject of codecs is too complex to cover here, but a search of Wikipedia will produce a wealth of information. When you feel that your project is complete, it then needs rendering to an appropriate delivery format. As I mentioned previously, this will depend upon how the final video is to be viewed. The Render Template UI is opened using this icon. This Render Template UI has a different design and was introduced in version 23. At first sight it looks daunting, but it can be configured to look less so. Before going into that though, I'll go through the different elements of the UI. In the left-hand panel are options that allow you to specify which render templates to display. I'll explain that in more detail later on. The top right-hand panel contains a list of available templates, depending on how the left-hand panel is set up. You will notice that there is at least one template that is marked with an equal sign. This basically means that this template matches the properties of the project. Underneath this panel is a panel giving some information about the template. There's also information and settings, which I will detail later. So that's an overview of the Render Template UI. We'll now look at it in more detail. Let's look at the left-hand pane. The search icon needs no explanation, although it's worth pointing out that entering a string of characters will display those templates that contain that string. Also, the field is not case sensitive. Clicking the red cross clears the search field. Clicking the Favorites icon displays only the defined favorites. You can see that I have some defined. These are the ones designated by white stars. The Recent icon, unsurprisingly, displays recently chosen templates. Now, the Use Case option. This drop-down list contains popular delivery types. While options in this list point to a particular delivery type, it's important to note that there are, in some cases, many templates to choose from. Some of these templates may not exactly satisfy your delivery type. For instance, take the DVD and Blu-ray option. The Blu-ray specification currently is quite broad. In the past, Blu-ray was limited to a resolution of 1920 by 1080. That's full HD. Revisions to the specification allowed resolutions up to 3840 by 2160. That's 4K. But this requires special Blu-ray players. So before making a decision on which template to use, take this use case list as a guide. Make sure that the device that's to be used to play your rendered project is capable of playing it. The video drop-down list has options containing specific codec types. As I mentioned earlier, delivery formats can contain different codecs. The MP4 format, for instance, is a common delivery format, but can contain a variety of different codecs. You can see that the file type after rendering is MP4, but the codec is AVC. Now you can see that the file type is still MP4, but the codec is AV1. The image sequence option allows the project to be rendered into a sequence of images. Each frame of the selected render duration is rendered into an image file of the type selected. The audio option allows audio to be rendered to a specific file type. In the template list panel, you can see templates with equal signs. This equal sign signifies that that particular template matches the current project properties. The white star indicates that it's one of my favourites. You can designate a favourite by hovering the mouse over a template and clicking the hollow star that appears at the end. To remove it from the favourites list, simply click on it. At the top right of the panel, there are two drop-down lists. The Sort By list allows the templates to be sorted in many different ways. Clicking the Show All checkbox shows many more ways of sorting. Unless you're confident with the type and content of the template you want to find, it's probably best to leave this sort option alone. At the side of this is the Filter option icon. If it's coloured blue, it means that the template list is filtered. Hover over this icon to reveal the filtering options. Which filter options you check will depend upon which templates you want to display. Unless you have a good reason not to do so, it's recommended that you match the output template properties to the project properties. To do so, check the Match Project Video Settings and the Match Project Audio Settings checkbox. At the top of the panel below the template list panel is the name in bold of the currently selected template. At the side of it is the Codecs plugin used for the template. Clicking the question mark gives details about the plugin. At the side of that is a button that allows the template to be customized. The settings in this feature are far too complex to describe here. Possibly the only thing you would want to change as a beginner is the bit rates. If you do change anything, you can save the customized template by giving it a name, providing a description, and clicking the floppy disk icon. The Notes field shows the description as entered in the Notes field of the template properties. The next field gives specific information about the selected template. If the template doesn't match some of the project properties, these properties will be displayed in red. The Audio field gives the template's audio properties. The Folder field gives the path of the folder that the rendered file will be saved to. To save it to a different folder, click the folder icon at the end of the field. Click the icon at its side to revert the folder path to the current project folder path. The drop-down arrow displays a list of the last folder paths selected, up to a maximum of 8 entries. The Name field displays the name to be allocated to the rendered file, with the file's extension shown at the end of the field. The two pieces of information given underneath require no explanation. If you've created a loop region, an extra option appears at the bottom. Click this if you only want to render this loop region. The loop region icon will turn blue to remind you that this option has been enabled. Make sure it's disabled if you're rendering the complete project. The cog icon reveals a list of options that can be enabled by clicking the checkboxes. As a beginner, it's unlikely that you would want any of these options enabled. Next to this is the Render button. Click this to start the render process. The Cancel button will close the UI down. During the render process, you may need to cancel the render. You can do this by clicking the Cancel button on the Render Progress window. If you do so, a warning panel appears informing you that all rendering up to that point will be lost. You will be prompted to allow cancellation or to allow the rendering to proceed. The Render Progress window gives information about the render. Clicking Estimated Properties and Options displays additional information and settings relevant to the render process. I can understand that all that was a lot to absorb. I had to go into a lot of detail because this new user interface has caused quite a few complaints. Many have had concerns that some templates they have used in the past didn't appear to be available. This has been caused by incorrect use of the many filtering options. Anyway, I hope I've helped you understand this new UI, and if I have, please consider subscribing. It helps to keep me motivated to produce more tutorials about this very powerful nonlinear editor. Until the next one, bye for now.